everyone, this is Kiran, and now let's learn about the terminologies which are very important to learn before we actually start exploring more about Jira. Here is the first term which we have to understand. What is a Scrum? So Scrum is an agile technique. So it is directly related to how agile works, and it is a technique where a group of people together follow some set of rules to achieve a common goal. Now Scrum is time bound. We have to fix a time limit until which we are going to achieve a particular set of goals. So all the people in the Scrum team will be working towards that one common goal. It is an iterative approach, which we have already seen that there were multiple cycles following the same SDLC. So it's an iterative approach consisting of sprints. Now this time foundation is sprint. Okay, so we'll talk about sprint in a quick while. So it consists of sprint that typically only lasts for maximum 4 weeks. So it can be 2 weeks, 4 weeks, even 1 week. So that typically lasts for 4 weeks. This approach ensures that your team delivers a version of the product regularly. So after every sprint, we have a working software which we demo to the client, right? So we get our working software ready after every sprint. So that's about the definition of Scrum. There are a lot of concepts to understand more. Let's move forward and see. Now it is a widely used framework for Agile. We have already seen that. And Scrum goes with sprint. After every 2 weeks or after every 4 weeks, we give a deployable product. Now what is Scrum team? So the product building will be done by the Scrum team, set of people who are following the Scrum rules, who are following the Scrum principles to achieve a common goal. They are the Scrum team. Now, what is sprint? A sprint is a time frame. It is a time foundation which we create so that we can achieve something deployable by the end of that time span. So that is a sprint cycle. Now, every sprint should be of the same length. That is important, that the length of the sprint has to be same till nth sprint, till the time we can finish off the entire project. 2 weeks is typical, but a sprint can be anywhere between 1 to 4 weeks span. Now there is a term which we have to understand or know about it, which is called increment of done. Now every sprint we are delivering something which is workable, and the next sprint we are incrementing upon it, as in there's something which we have created. Let's say we have created version 1.0. So in the next sprint we are adding more work to it. So we are incrementing the definition of done. So we have already done some work and we are adding onto it some more work. So every sprint what we are delivering an increment of the done of the previous sprint. So we have to understand this term because we'll be using it sometimes in our Agile and Jira process. So that is increment of done, right? Let's move forward and see more terminologies here. Now let's understand some roles and responsibilities in Agile. Now the product owner holds a very important role in Agile. This is the guy who is responsible or who is answerable to the stakeholders, because he is handling a product and he has to make sure that everything is getting delivered on time. We are able to demo a workable software to the client at the end of the sprint 1, 2, 3 till end. So product owner is responsible for representing the customer. He is directly interacting with all the stakeholders. There's another guy very important in the team who is called Scrum Master. Now, Scrum Master is a very typical role, and we have a dedicated Scrum Master in our companies and projects. But if we don't have a particular role in a company like a Scrum Master, we can choose one Scrum Master from amongst the team also. Or in some projects, we also rotate this responsibility amongst all the team members present. So we can understand this person is the facilitator. He is the guy who is responsible for a smooth functioning of the entire Scrum cycle. So he'll be arranging the daily meetings. So we'll talk about all different kinds of meetings we usually have in Agile or we follow while we are using Jira. So this guy will be responsible for arranging the daily stand-up Scrum meetings. He will also improve the interactions between the teammates. So let's say when there is team meeting happening and there is a bottleneck where two people are not agreeing upon the same goal, or they are not on the same page, Scrum Master should make it is his responsibility that both of them clear their doubts and they follow the same decisions and rules which have been meant for all the teammates for achieving that one common goal. So basically, he will be improving the team interactions. He will also maximize the productivity, because if the team is working together, if all of them are on the same page, we are all following the same set of rules which has been set for achieving a goal, the efficiencies shall increase. And that's what the goal of Agile, and that's what how Jira will be helping us achieve the efficiency in our work. So that's where Scrum Master is responsible for maximizing the productivity of the teammates. Okay, so as I said, that if suppose let's say we don't have a Scrum Master role in the team, we can project manager takes up this role. Sometimes it can be delegated to any other teammate in the entire team. So there's no hard and fast rule as such, but we can delegate it to anybody in the team. But he should be a strong facilitator, that's true. Now they'll also remove any impediments, any obstacles which are there in the team. That's what I said, the bottlenecks has to be removed, and also create an effective work environment. So that's what Scrum Master is doing. Moving forward with some more terminologies, backlog, if you remember, we had a backlog page which opened up in the last session. I'll quickly go back and show you. This is the backlog page, if you can see here, right? So there is a start sprint option here, and then there are backlogs which we have to create. There is 0 issues here. So we have to create issues. Now there's a typical term, issues, which we relate to as bugs in previous understanding. But now here in Jira, issues doesn't typically means only bugs. It means anything which we are actually working upon. Maybe an epic, story, task, subtask, bug, anything can be termed as issues. So we'll talk about that too. But let's not move our focus from what we were learning. We were talking about backlogs. So what is a backlog? Is a list of tasks or the requirements which we are going to work upon so that we can achieve the final product. So backlog is anything which any entity which we are working upon. So let's say in sprint number 1, we chose some 20 backlog items to work upon, and we could ideally, the ideal case scenario is to finish off all of those 20 backlogs. But let's say we couldn't finish off those backlogs and we could only work upon 18. So 2 will go into the next sprint. The 2 backlogs will go on to the next sprint. So backlog is any entity which we are working upon, be user story, task, subtask, anything. So majorly there is a product backlog. So product backlog consists of all the requirements. The entire requirement is broken down into product backlogs, right? First we'll have a breakup of all the requirements which we got from the clients. So they will be consisting of the product backlog. And then there is sprint backlog. So what happens? So we'll choose some set of backlogs to be worked upon in one sprint. So those bunch or those set of items which we are going to work in this particular sprint will be termed as sprint backlogs. Now let's say in the second sprint we'll have another bunch, but let's say some backlogs remain unworked, or they are not, they couldn't be finished or half worked. So they will be also considered as backlog of sprint 2 now, because they'll move to the second sprint now, right? So sprint backlog is a set of tasks which we are going to work in that particular sprint. Sprint 1 backlog will be decided at the first sprint planning meeting. And then when the next sprint planning meeting happens, we have to see that if anything remains from the previous backlog, we'll take those tasks, move it to the next set of backlogs, and then start the second sprint. So I hope these terminologies are clear by now. We'll move forward and talk about the 3 different meetings, very important meetings which happens in Agile. So first is the sprint planning meeting, which happens on the first day of the sprint. So in the sprint planning meeting, we talk about which all backlogs will be taking up as a part of the first sprint, who all will be working on what, and what we are going to demo to the client, whose responsibility is what, as I already said. So sprint planning meeting is very important to understand what we are going to actually deliver at the end of the sprint. Second is daily stand-up Scrum meetings. These are quick 10 or 15 minutes meeting in the early morning when we start our day. So the name of the meeting is Daily Stand-Up Scrum. Daily because it happens daily. Stand-Up Scrum, the name or the agenda for this meeting is, this meeting has to be very quick. That's where we don't sit in this meeting. We all the teammates, we stand and we do this meeting so that it's very fast. So what we do here is everybody will be talking on 3 pointers here. Number 1, what we did yesterday. So were we working upon yesterday? Number 2 is what we're going to work on today. So today, what is our task, what we have to perform. And number 3, if we are facing any issues or bottlenecks and we're not able to move forward, so in that case, any other teammate can help us and tell us what to do about it, and we can actually smoothen the process. So only these 3 pointers are discussed by all the teammates available in the room, and everybody will be standing and talking so that it can be quickly wrapped up in 10 or 15 minutes. It happens in the morning. The first thing which happens is the stand-up Scrum meetings in any project, and then we start our day, start working upon our tickets which we have been assigned with, and then next day again the process repeats till the sprint ends. So this is the daily stand-up Scrum meetings. The third meeting which happens in Agile is retrospection. Now the retrospection word comes from 2 words, retro and inspection. Retro means old, inspection is to find out. So we basically retracting back, we are finding out what happened in the last sprint. Now it's very important to learn from our previous work so that we can make our future work better. So this motto or this process of Agile is very helpful. Retrospection, wherein we talk about what went well in the previous sprint so that we can learn from those good pointers and implement those again in the next sprint. Second, what went wrong? So where did we got stuck, or what went bad about any sprint? We can talk about that in the retrospection. And third is if we have got any issues or we got stuck somewhere, so that we can resolve those in the next sprint. So it's very important to retract back our work, see what could have been done better so that we can make our future work better. So the retrospection is also a very important discussion. Now talking that's about the meetings which happen in Agile. Now there are 2 boards, majorly 2 types of boards which we see in our Jira. One is Scrum board and one is Kanban board. Let's quickly see what is Scrum board. So Scrum board, if you can see, I'll just quickly go back to Jira and show you. You can see the backlog. I have a board section also. So I'll click on the board. You'll see there are 3 columns which got created: to do, in progress, and done. Right, these are the 3 columns which got created. I can create multiple columns here using the plus icon here. We'll do that later on, but for now you understand Scrum board means there is a board which got created, and we will have to move our tickets from one column to another column till the last column, and at the last column we can say that yes, we are done or we have finished our tasks, right? So Scrum board is majorly helping us achieve the Agile process. Okay, so we are following the 2-week sprint cycle or 4-week sprint cycle. We are following a sprint or a time boundation process here, wherein we have set of tasks in the first column and we have to move all the tickets or tasks to the last column at the end of the sprint cycle. So this is done in tools like Jira, or we can have physical boards, whiteboards in our companies, and we can actually have post-its pasted and we can move them, and that's very interesting to perform. So vertical columns and breaking your project apart into, there's like to do, in progress, and done. So we can have more of the column listing. Let's say if we have coding, then review, code review, and then QA, and then demo. So we can create multiple columns based on our own, or how are we working, our own teams, our own progress matrix which we have set, and then we can actually perform. So that is Scrum board. Now Kanban is yet another popular framework of Agile, where we are actually achieving or completing a task, but it doesn't follow the Scrum particularly. It doesn't follow the 2-week sprint cycle. It's a continuous process, so there's no sprint backlogs. We don't have anything to finish off in a particular time span. So basically Kanban board has work in progress limit, as in we have to, based on the team's capacity. So we have to finish a set of tasks based on the team's capacity. We are working towards achieving or completing the project in Kanban. But here in Scrum, what is happening? We have to follow that tight deadline and we have to deliver a workable or working software at the end of that sprint. But in Kanban, actually, we are focusing towards how is our capacity of the team, so that we can set limit and we can complete those items. For example, a team with 2 developers might set a limit of 2 to 4 items only. Any column when empty signals that, okay, we have to take more items in this column now. right? So it's about finishing off what we have taken in Kanban majorly. So Kanban requires real-time communication of capacity and full transparency of work. So everybody is getting to know who is doing what, because the tickets are getting moved from one section to another section. That happens in Scrum too. So work items are represented visually on a Kanban board. So we can use Jira or physical boards, as I said, allowing team members to see the state of everybody's work, right? Everybody is able to see everybody's work here, because you got that transparency in the team, and everybody can see that, okay, let's say we have 5 tickets untouched. So we get to know on whose plate these tickets are and who's going to actually cater to them. So if we talk about Scrum versus Kanban, so product backlog. So what happens between product backlog and customer is what distinguishes Scrum to Kanban. Scrum Master is the person in Scrum. In Kanban, it is called Agile Coach. So the terminologies, that is one difference. Okay, so here it is called Scrum Master. Here it is called Agile Coach. Kanban is a methodology centered around visualizing the task, mostly about viewing what's happening, while Scrum is about delivering in short time spans. Right? Small time span has been designed and delivering in those time spans. So focus is different in both the approaches, though the goal is same about final delivery. Kanban delivers tasks continuously until the project is finished. So whatever time span it takes, it will keep on delivering continuously. So there's no time boundation of 2 weeks or 4 weeks. So it keeps on delivering until the project finishes off. While Scrum delivers chunks of deliverables in some dedicated time span. So that's about the difference between Scrum and Kanban, but both of them actually caters to delivering the final product efficiently. So that's about the terminologies. So we have talked about Scrum today. We talked about what Scrum team is, and then what is a sprint and increment of done. Then there are roles and responsibilities. We talked about product owner and Scrum Master. Then we also discussed about what backlogs are, product backlog and sprint backlog. Then we talked about the different meetings which happen majorly in Agile, which are sprint planning, daily stand-up Scrum, and retrospection. Then we discussed the differences between Scrum board and Kanban board. So next we'll be creating our own backlogs and start our own sprint in Jira. So let's see what's more in Jira.